Because I recently discovered that there's a new professional football league called fan controlled football. And this is a football league that was invented for Twitch,
Huh.
right? It was invented for Twitch as a platform to try to leverage the kind of interactive capabilities that Twitch offers. So I actually sent Stro an email at the start of the week, and I said, Stro, I need you to look at this fan-controlled football and give us a brief kind of rundown on what it is and what are they doing on Twitch. So educate us,
Yeah.
coach.
Well, you know what? It's so 2021. Because yeah, it's all the games are broadcasted and streaming. Give fan control football gives the fans, like, you choose a team at the beginning of the season, and then it's kind of like gaming but with real athletes, right? So every week you get to democratically, for your team that you selected at the beginning of the season, um, choose. Every week they do a draft, who plays on that team. You do get to choose a keeper after like the first week or whatever. Um, but you also get to choose the plays democratically. Now,
Huh.
not every vote is created equal, but because you get points, like IQ points, but the more you contribute, right? So
Yeah.
it is very Twitch in that sense. Is like the more you participate, or very social media, right? The more leverage your vote has on the play that actually happens in the field. And they broadcast it live on Twitch, and you have an app, and you make the decisions as the game progresses. And every week, there's like, and it goes off the field too. What's actually really cool is there's a WWE element to it, right? Like they
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
and also
Cool.
make they also like in more of the traditional mainstream sports leagues, the league, like the NFL, owns the players and all that stuff. Well, the players in this league represent themselves, and what happens off the field kind of also gives you popularity and allows fans to get power-ups for the players, which can change the way the game is played. It's really, really cool because I think it empowers the players a bit more, but it definitely empowers the fans more. So yeah, it's like we chatted briefly about this. It's kind of like Running Man in a way, right? Where it's
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
real
But to your
people
point,
can.
like all the players, many of them are on Twitch themselves as well, and all the
Well, they have to
content
be.
is on Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah, they have to be, because in a way they're being judged on who they are as a personality. So there's like an individual connection to the fans. It's kind of cool. I gotta say, it's kind of cool, but it's still football.
Yeah.
It's arena football, so it's seven
Yeah.
on seven, and they play the game
And
within an hour.
that I thought was smart,
And
keeping the game limited to an hour. Right. That's kind of the
yeah,
point about streamers trying to reach affiliate. That if you do a 12-hour stream, it's going to be really hard to get a lot of high average viewers. Whereas fan control football, as a startup, they know it's going to be hard for them. They're going to be compared to the NFL, and they're never going to have anywhere close to the same numbers. But in limiting it to an hour, they get a much more condensed, a much more high impact kind of fan experience.
yeah, I think it's gonna grow. I think because you have to be involved kind of through the week, because if your team is doing the draft, you want to have input on, because again, most of the team, like, so there's a pool of players, right? And they invite anybody, and they're high level athletes. Um, there's a pool of players, but you only get to keep like a couple of players, and then you get to draft like the defensive line or the offensive line, whatever, and they could switch teams, right? You're only kind of choosing the moniker for the team, and then what happens for that team is up to you as a fan. It is. I think the NFL's got to watch out, especially how traditionally racist and they have been, and
Well,
how like uh,
and to your point, that
sorry.
the professional sport leagues control their players and restrict what their players do, versus in this case, actually encouraging your players to be personalities on the platform, to build up their own fan base. I mean, that's what makes me think that this league has potential.
Yeah, because you get to be your own brand and own that, right? And
Hmm.
it's really for the love of the game in a way, because you realize that the players are interchangeable, right? It's kind of, you have some control, you have a direct investment into the team and how they do, right?
Hmm.
So it's pretty cool. I gotta say I think this is the future of sport, because everybody is so into gaming, but there's still
Well,
something to be said about the beauty of sport and being active, and how, we're still humans and we still need to move.
and we do have a very clear bias here on MetaViews and This Week in Twitch in favor of small streamers. So I don't want to spend too much time on the kind of fan controlled football, but they are small streamers compared to the
Mhm.
NFL, right? And they are small streamers when it comes to professional sports in general. So I mean, Stro, after sort of reviewing the site and looking at fan controlled football, are you going to follow it? Is it the kind of thing that you would consider participating in?
See, I'm not a huge fan of football. I personally like the Canadian Football League, because there's some right there's
They work
but
harder.
and even then I only probably tune into like the Grey Cup, and
Yeah.
maybe like if somebody has tickets and takes me out for a beer at the Argos game or something,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. But as somebody that helps to run a league, because I run the Toronto Burby League,
Yeah.
and I have a team in that. We've already started talking about streaming our games live on Twitch, and maybe having more interaction with a potential audience, because what we do with the Burby League is not that much different than what they're doing with the
Yeah.
football that we do for
Yeah.
baseball with the Burby, right?
Right
So
on.
no,
Well,
I'm
and
not. But oh my God, is this mind blowing in a way? A little blip
and
for sure.
and maybe that's part of the moral that sometimes on Twitch it's not so much because we're all creators, because we're all looking for inspiration. Sometimes you don't follow, in this case, fan controlled football, but you do find inspiration for your own ideas when it comes to sports streaming. And I do want to share
Yeah, no,
Nuviak. Nuviak pointed out that the CFL are like streamers because they don't have any fans.
the CFL should have done this, by the way. Like, they could totally do this. I think this is the future of sport. I think what we're
Yeah.
looking at, and I'm not, like the big money and the corporate whatever following backing is going to probably somehow take this idea and run it with it themselves on the bigger, because they already have a fan base.
Well,
But what
that's
they're doing with the fan control football is something that hasn't been done before in a way, and I think the other leagues need to pay attention for sure.
so. I
Mind you, they
think
do
that's.
have big sponsorship.
But I think that's an interesting point because, in the chat, random dude with internet pointed out that even though it's off topic, YouTube is shit for smaller creators. And, that is such a truth. I think that the fan controlled football league, they probably figured that out too. And that's why they're here on Twitch. And I think that's why Twitch is a real hotbed of incubating ideas, because it is much more of a not so much a level playing field because it's as corrupt as some of the others, but there's more of opportunity for small streamers. There's more opportunity for spreading content and creating those types of opportunities.
Right, because
I
isn't the idea isn't
Go
the
ahead,
idea
Stro.
behind the internet and the social media that we actually have more freedom to express and connect as opposed to less, right? Which is
Yeah.
how it's kind of been going.
The flip side is if everyone has the ability to express, then there's less of an audience because we're all here on TV trying to get people to tune